Hey, John, I don't know if you realize that you're actually on TV right now and you dress like that.
The look a WWE superstar debuts with isn't necessarily the look that they will use for the rest of their career. For instance, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin both drastically altered their look throughout the years, and their debut appearances were a stark contrast as to what they would look like during their peak runs in WWE. Yeah, remember Austin with hair? In relation to the modern WWE roster, there are a number of superstars who currently look completely different to how they looked when they debuted a number of years ago. But which wrestlers were they? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who have drastically changed their look since they debuted. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists.
Say that I want to sing a
song. Oh, Jackson Ryker from behind. New look, Jackson Ryker. No longer aligned.
Number 10, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has become one of the top female stars in WWE. Her established look of short blonde hair with dark ring attire is a strong contrast to the ring gear that she debuted with back in 2017. Before Rhea was bringing her brutality to Raw on a weekly basis, she competed in the 2017 Mae Young Classic tournament, which would act as a debut. For her debut, she would wear red attire and her hair was much longer. However, it wasn't just the look that would be different for Rhea, she would have a completely different gimmick and persona. The new persona would be a happy-go-lucky superstar who is, well, just happy to be there. This was completely different to the persona she would go on to have in NXT and the main roster. Additionally, if Rhea decided to keep the initial character and look, she may not have reached the height she's at right now. Number 9, Drew McIntyre. Did you know Drew McIntyre actually debuted in the WWE 14 years ago? Yeah, that's right, in 2007, McIntyre would debut on SmackDown in a match against Zack Ryder. For his debut match, he would initially wear a blue kilt for his entrance, and his trunks featured the Scottish flag on the rear. Drew looked extremely different. The main difference outside of the attire was the muscle mass difference and overall grungy look of him. Currently, McIntyre has one of the best physiques in WWE, however in 2007 he was rather slim and didn't have any muscle definition that he would come to have over a decade later. Number 8, Bray Wyatt. If you put the character of Husky Harris side by side with the character of The Fiend, non-wrestling fans wouldn't have a clue that the two characters are portrayed by the same guy. Bray Wyatt made his main roster debut in 2010 as part of the second season of NXT and would go under the name of Husky Harris. This character didn't have too much depth and fans failed to connect with it at all. The Harris character wore basic ring gear and had much shorter hair than what Bray would have later on in his career. But fast forward a decade later and Bray portrays two characters simultaneously. The Bray Wyatt character is a lot different to Harris in terms of appearance. Bray is obviously slimmed down quite substantially and his hair is much longer. In relation to the Fiend character, thanks to the Fiend's mask and dreadlocks, he looks like an entirely different human being compared to the guy that was on television just over a decade ago. Number 7, Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross would make her debut in NXT under the name of Nikki Glenn Cross. This was before Nikki had fleshed out a substantial character, and unfortunately it showed. Her character and attire were incredibly generic, with Nikki opting for a basic blue attire which looked rather unimpressive compared to the other attires in NXT at the time. Nikki would go on to change this look quite dramatically when she joined the Sanity stable. Here she would have much darker hair as well as a dark color scheme which made up her attire. More recently, Nikki debuted a brand new superhero character. But for this character, Nikki has once again changed her look. The black attire had been discontinued in favor of a blue and gold attire with a blue mask which disguises the majority of her face. She is a superhero after all. Well, almost. Number 6, Bayley. Bayley made her WWE debut in 2013 and would quickly rise to the top of the NXT card. Bayley at one stage was the most popular female star in the entire division, and there was a time period where it seemed like Bayley being anything other than a lovable babyface was out of the question.
Screw all of you!
And when Bayley turned heel in 2019, it shocked a lot of fans, and it was truly one of the most shocking moments of the modern era. Along with this heel turn came a new attitude. Bayley would remove everything that made her endearing to the fans, as gone was the fun theme song, gone was the Bayley buddies, and gone was the long hair. Bayley would alter her haircut to a shoulder-length style, making her appearance a complete contrast to her debut. According to Bayley during an appearance on Renee Young's podcast, Vince McMahon loved the new look. She stated,
he was in the production office and I walked in, I'm like, all right, Vince, here I am. And then he kind of just stared at me for a second. And then I like spun around, like, let me make sure he knows that I cut my hair. And like, I don't know, I just did like an awkward spin and he goes, looks awesome.
Number 5. Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler first signed for the WWE in 2004, and he would have 2 infamous characters before he would become the future world champion. Ziggler's debut character would be Chavo Guerrero's golf partner. Guerrero at the time was portraying a character known as Kerwin White. The character was controversial and didn't last too long. Ziggler's character would wear basic golf attire, and he looked completely different to the colourful and vibrant attire fans came to know Ziggler for later on. But following his time as a caddy, Ziggler would become a member of the Spirit Squad as Nikki. Here Ziggler would wear a male cheerleader's outfit, and looking back it's actually quite hard to pinpoint which member of the Spirit Squad is actually Ziggler due to how different he used to look. Number 4. Sami Zayn. Following Sami Zayn's heel turn a number of years ago, he's completely altered his character and appearance. Zayn's new gimmick is now of a conspiracist, where he claims that there is a conspiracy against him in the WWE to stop achieving his true potential.
These guys didn't get it. How with your trick camera angles?
The referees they're literally haunting my dream. I've developed a strange dislike for zebras.
Along with this new character, Zayn grew out his hair all over his face and currently has the longest hair he's ever had in his career. Zayn also altered his ring attire, as he wears now a green camo color baggy trousers with a green jacket and baseball cap, making up part of his entrance look. This is a drastic difference to Zayn that debuted in NXT. The Zayn that debuted in NXT was, well, cleaner, with a smart haircut, trimmed beard and basic black and red tights that were well fitted. Number 3. Becky Lynch. It's hard to believe that Becky Lynch hasn't always had the character that's made her so popular with the WWE fans. Becky would become the Man in 2018, and this was a character that truly resonated with fans, and in turn it made her one of the most popular superstars of all time. The Man character is a complete contrast to the character that she debuted with in NXT, and it's actually hard to remember what the character was. Becky debuted in NXT in 2014, and to be honest, her entire gimmick would be based on the fact that she was Irish. She would wear a bright green attire and do an Irish jig on the way down to the ring. And one of the main differences between the 2014 version of Becky and the modern day Becky is that she didn't have a trademark hair color. In 2014 she had brown hair, and the orange hair fans would associate so fondly with Becky was nowhere to be seen. Number 2. Baron Corbin. There was actually a time when Baron Corbin wasn't the bald-headed villain fans see on TV on a weekly basis. When Corbin first debuted in NXT, he had long, thinning hair and his persona was completely different. This was during a time where Corbin was running with the Lone Wolf persona. For this persona, Corbin would barely speak, his matches would be extremely short, and his ring attire would be extremely dark and gothic in nature. Corbin has changed though a lot throughout the years, and even his initial NXT look is a drastic contrast to how he looked when he played for the NFL. Corbin during his NFL days weighed 3 stones heavier than he currently does. He looks like a completely different person, and it's rather insane to look at. And number 1. Otis. At one stage in early 2020, Otis was one of the most over superstars in the entire WWE. His storyline with Mandy Rose was red hot, and the fans had really taken to him, mostly because his charisma was so infectious to fans.
This is over with. What are you trying to finish? Mysterio's defenseless, and Otis now up on the second rope with a splash! Crushing Mysterio!
However, Otis recently turned heel and now has drastically altered his appearance. The one half of the Alpha Academy looks nothing like the superstar which made him so endearing to the fans. Otis debuted with long hair and a messy beard, and this was a look that was widely associated with his character until he turned heel. Otis's new look involves a short haircut, and all his facial hair has been removed. Discussing his new look on the bump, Otis would reveal that he wanted to look like he did when he was an amateur wrestler to match his new persona alongside Chad Gable. The former Mr. Money in the Bank revealed,
I think it's part of the plan of looking like we used to be back when we used to compete as in Chad Gable was in the Olympics and I was in amateur wrestling. We had the shorter hair look. And basically the beard was just getting annoying for me. Shaved her off, you know. Now, I'm a very pretty man, as people say. And so with the haircut, well, just getting that hair out of the way and, you know, getting ready for competition. So it was basically a last minute thing. Shaved off the hair, and now, you know, we're back to business as usual. And because I didn't want people to see the old Otis, I want people to see the new Otis.
I will destroy anyone.
But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE wrestlers who have drastically changed their looks since their debut. Who has made the most drastic change? Let us know in the comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.